just want to say hello to all.
Hello, Elsie.
Hello, hello.
Hello. What a nice gathering. Hi, Egil. There are friends I haven't seen for a long time. Judy, how are you? Well,
Yes, this is quite a gathering.
yeah, thank you for gathering us. Thank you for organizing this, really.
Oh. Hi, Elsie. It's Rick. I haven't seen you for a while.
A long while. Hello. I'm glad we have our names with our images. Otherwise, we may not even recognize you.
True.
Hi, Elsie. I recognize you.
Oh.
Great. Kia ora, everyone. Aloha kako, malo alele, warm Pacific greetings to you all. My name is Brian Dietrich, and I'm chair of the ICTM Oceania study group, and it's my pleasure to start off today and welcome all of you here. This book launch is coming at the 4th day of the ICTM Oceania Symposium. I would like to thank everyone who's been with us over the past 3 days. I would also like to welcome those of you who are just joining us today for this launch. We've had about 160 registrants over the 4 days, which has been really wonderful. And I encourage you to look through who's here. We have quite a global range of scholars and colleagues assembled here. So welcome, and it's really wonderful to see all of you here. A reminder that East West Center is recording this event. And Adrian, we will send you this as a video file for you to keep as well.
Oh, lovely.
We strongly encourage everyone to please place comments in the chat to tell us where you are Zooming from or to say hello and to post comments throughout today. As many of you know, we had hoped early on for an in-person launch, but plans changed. Nevertheless, we're delighted we could bring everyone together and to see so many of you here to celebrate with us. So welcome. Today celebrates the launch of a new book, Perspectives in Motion, Engaging the Visual in Dance and Music, which has been edited by Kendra and myself. And we're here to celebrate Adrian's wonderful career over more than 5 decades. So congratulations, Adrian. We have a program planned for today, and we each have more to say. But now I'd like to sort of turn it over to Kendra to just say a few words of welcome.
Yes, hello. For those who don't know me, my name is Kendra Steputat, and it was my great pleasure to co-edit this work together with Brian Dietrich. We realized that working with 12 hours time difference is sometimes challenging because the meeting times we had were either very early in the morning for one or late in the evening for the other. On the other hand, we could work around the clock. So maybe that was also a reason why we got this book done in a fairly quick time. Anyhow, yeah, a warm welcome from me as well. And Adrian, I know about your, I mean, we all know about your limerick tradition. And the last time that we met, I think, if I remember correctly, was actually here in Graz in Austria at a symposium. And back then you had to leave early, so you couldn't deliver your limerick. So it was really sad, but you also were the reason why in the study group for ethnochoreology, we started inventing our kinetic limerick, which has become another tradition. So this is once again something where you influenced and were the cause for yet another tradition. Nevertheless, today I dare to step into your footsteps and do a small limerick on your behalf.
Okay.
And I have it written down here. So there once was a scholar named Adrian who notated dancing with fountain pen, an expert on humans and their systems of movements, who influenced us time and again. Today we gather to celebrate. Across the globe, here it's quite late. to honor her dedication with a nice publication. Hooray, and time to celebrate.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't want to say much more now. So Brian, what's the plan? How do we continue now?
Thank you for your limerick, Kendra. So we do have a program plan in place for today. And to start us on, both of us will say more about the book and project later. But to start us off, I'd like to introduce Eric Chang. Eric is coordinator of the arts program at the East West Center. And Eric and East West Center are also our hosts for today. Thank you very much, Eric, and I'll turn it over to you for what comes next.
Thank you, Brian. Aloha mai kako from the East West Center. Good morning, everyone. We're honored to share in this honoring of Adrian today, and it's my pleasure to introduce a first offering of today, and this is an offering of chant, Oli, by Kumuhula Noinolani Zurameister, who is a lecturer in the music department at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. She will be doing 3 chants for Adrian today. Her first chant is Aia no ke Akua, which describes the gods that inhabit the uplands. They are also present in the crater Pu'uani Ani. A voice calls and begs to be worthy, for it is knowledge that is of immeasurable value. The second chant, Ike Ia Kaukini, uses metaphors of nature to express joy and delight one has while serving their ali'i, Hawaiian royalty. In the third chant, Kauka Hali'a, the chanter awakens from a deep sleep and recalls fond remembrances. In the high uplands, the singing of birds is heard, and in the lush forest, the goddess Laka is present. Kumuhula Noinolani Zurameister, shown here today is a Mary Lewis on her screen, is honored to do these 3 chants for Adrian, who she considers a member of her family. She offers these chants with great admiration and aloha.
Ai no ke aku ala iu ka ke ai mai le pu ani ani ka uahi na kai luna ka mahu kai lalo ka lua o ka leo he mai o mai ule o ka ike i ka vai vai ai I ke kaukini hele vai a manu he upena I ku ui ka no o po kai ke o punia ela ka o na ki kepa kina I ala I luna he uai e ka peku peku e ka I a manu o pu o ali ke ali I vale no ka umake make o ka luhia maua me I nei o ko ma ko le ale anoia ua I ke uai kau kali ai ka manawala ia moi ko uala na oi o halaulani o hoa ka lei mehe manu ki kanine ki kuaiwi ki kualono ku umahale hua ku umohoki e ki ela I luna Iu ka ho ia me oe e la ka I kana hele hele I hoa ka ana no ia ki kua hivi ki kua lono e ho I mai ai.
Thank you, Noi Noi. Putting my arms around you.
Mahalo, Nui Loa, Noi Noi, and Eric for the wonderful Oli, Noi Noi. It's really, really wonderful. I don't know if you wanted to say something now, Noi, or wait until later. I think you're muted.
Oh, there, now I'm okay. I just wanted to tell Adrian that
I love her. I love her and I'm very proud of her. And I'm proud to call you my family member, Adrian. I love you. That's it.
Aloha. Yeah.
Mahalo, Noe, for a very moving Oli. We really appreciate you doing this, and we look forward to when we can all come together in person. Thank you so much. Mahalo, Nui Loa. I'd now like to turn it over to Kendra, who will introduce the next part of the program.
And then we will switch to the next
Yes,
speaker,
please.
which would be Catherine Foley from Limerick in her capacity as a chair of the ICTM study group on ethnochoreology. It's my pleasure to see you here, Catherine, please. You're still muted.
Still muted, Catherine?
There we are. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm delighted to be here and to be able to speak on behalf of the study group on ethnochoreology. So, Adrian, we send you our warmest congratulations on the publication of Perspectives in Motion, a volume which deservedly honors your academic career and achievements over many decades. We also congratulate Kendra and Brian and all the contributors to the volume. Your friends and your colleagues in the study group in ethnochoreology, many have known you since your first participation at the IFMC's 22nd conference in Bayonne, France in 1973, almost 50 years ago. And it's there where you met with Vera Prochikorsha and Anke Gurchescu. And from then you contributed the shaping of our dance community within the IFMC and later the study group in ethnochoreology, and particularly with your participation at our Symposium. So we thank you for the huge contribution that you have made to our study group and to broader ethnochoreological, ethnomusicological, and anthropological research into dance and the other arts. We want you to know, Adrian, how much we appreciate and how much we hold you in our highest regard as a scholar, a colleague, and as a friend. Indeed, you have inspired many of the members in the study group and others beyond it, including myself. So we congratulate you, Adrian, and we hope that you enjoy your special event. We are sorry we cannot be there with you in person, but I know many are with you in spirit, and we hope in the near future we can celebrate with a drink together. And one last thing, and as Kendra mentioned at the very beginning, you're also known as the Queen of Limericks. Not competing with you, but I also ventured down that route with a very short limerick. It's not like the limerick, Adrian, that you wrote in the Symposium publication in Limerick, which was 2.5 pages long. So this is just one little limerick from me, from Limerick in Ireland. So here goes. There once was a scholar of dance whose perspective in antro advanced. A book was devoted amidst the long COVID to Adrian, our friend, us entranced. So congratulations, Adrian, from all of us in the study group in ethnochoreology called Gordicus.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Catherine. And I want you to notice what I'm wearing.
Oh, thank you, Adrian. It means a lot to me.
Actually, this was presented to me the last time I was in Limerick, after I gave my limerick.
Thank you, Adrian, from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adrian.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I wonder how many more limericks you will have today. We have a few more speakers.
One would be as good
And
as
I
Adrian's.
wonder if, Right. I wonder if any of you will run into the same problem I ran into. Nothing rhymes with Kepler.
That's true. Right. Right. Well, I only write limericks for the ethnochoreology study group, not for the Pacific one. And so they probably have no clue what you're talking about.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, now they do.
But actually, I don't know how long, but every time we have a meeting of the ethnochoreology group, I usually have write a long limerick, and it starts when the last meeting was, and then we go into this meeting and then introduce the following meeting. And so it's, and there are sort of the highlights. And I was looking at one the other day, and I can't remember where it was, but the roof came down. Where were we? We were in a hotel, and the roof came down. I wasn't Sighead, right? Right. Anyway, thank you for your lyrics. I love them. I mean, anybody who really writes real limericks would probably just die. but really, it's a memory of our meetings, actually. Thank you so much, Catherine.
You're welcome so much, Adrian. Love you.
Okay, thank you very much, Catherine. And I'm handing over to Brian again.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Kendra. Adrian, we're also going to have some time for you to respond to this event at the end coming up. We have quite a bit planned. I think we've also sent the Zoom link to Salwa, so she might be popping in shortly, but I think now we're going to move on to introduce.
Here.
Oh, Salwa's here. Salwa, would you like to speak now, or would you like a few minutes to prepare?
A few minutes, yeah, a few minutes.
Great. So we'll move on to the next speaker, which is Barbara Smith, and then we'll come back to you afterwards. Okay. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Barbara Bernard Smith, and I believe Barbara is here with us today. Barbara, of course, is known to most of us. Barbara is a professor emeritus at the University of Hawaii, a longtime pioneer in ethnomusicology and Pacific music. And Barbara, of course, is a very good friend of Adrian, but we've wanted to hear for many reasons, but one is that, of course, Barbara is a former teacher of Adrian as well, and I wanted to do a share screen with you all here, which you should be able to see. And of course, this is Adrian's 1967 dissertation, The Structure of Tongan Dance. And if you see at the bottom here, among many illustrious people, there's Barbara Smith's name on the thesis. Barbara, it's really wonderful to have you here with us to say a few words for Adrian.
Thank you. As the person here who has probably known Adrian longer than anyone else, a few years longer than Rick's 60 years, this celebration is an especially happy one for me as a teacher who spotted Adrian as a fine, unusually gifted person in a class she took when she came to the University of Hawaii. That was confirmed by having served on the dissertation committee for her doctorate. And in so many ways, other ways, throughout our long, long friendship. Thank you, Adrian, for having enhanced my life.
Thank you, Barbara. I hardly know what to say. Right. But you have enhanced so many lives, but you probably enhanced my life longer than anybody in this group. And, you know, it's amazing that when I first met you, it must have been in, goodness, the end of, it must have been 1960 or something like that. And, you know, you were always there for me. And, you know, you helped me with anything I needed. And being on my doctoral dissertation must have been a terrible, terrible burden, because I remember it was so long. It was so long, and a lot of it was little pieces of Laban notation and putting the structure together and, talking about the difficulties of trying to do a dance thesis with in the way that linguists do their linguistic analysis. So using linguistic analysis to analyze movement was, not something that was usual. And so you had to put up with it along with all the other people on my committee. And I must say you were a very big help. So thank you so much, Barbara, for that, and through all of the years of help until today.
Mahalo, Barbara. Thank you so much for being here. It's really wonderful to have you here and share these stories with us. I'll now turn it back over to Kendra, and I think we're probably ready to introduce Sawa. Kendra?
Yes, thank you. Salva, are you ready to give
yes,
your
I am.
speech? Okay, so again, I introduce the president of the ICTM.
Well, it's my pleasure and honor to be on this very, very special occasion for a wonderful colleague and a very special friend who I've had the pleasure and honor of knowing for many, many years and working side by side. So on behalf of the International Council for Traditional Music, it's my pleasure and honor to deliver a few words of appreciation and gratitude on the occasion of the book launch in celebration of Adrienne Kapler's seminal contribution to dance and music research and her impact on so many scholars and institutions, including the ICTM. Dr. Adrienne Kapler contributed to the ICTM in many capacities. She gave her first paper in what was then the International Folk Music Council Conference in Edinburgh in 1969. Since then, she participated in many ICTM conferences, colloquia, and study group symposia. She has been an active member of 2 ICTM study groups, I would say a major pillar, Music and Dance of Oceania, of course, and Ethnochoreology. And as we all know, these are the 2 most dynamic and productive study groups of the ICTM. I think I would not be, I'm not mistaken in underlying that. As a member of the study group on the Music and Dance of Oceania, she integrated the editorial committee and contributed to the book entitled Traditionalism and Modernity in the Music and Dance of serving chairperson, Professor Barbara Smith, who fortunately is with us tonight or today, tonight here in Europe, where I'm located. As a member of the study group of ethnochoreology, she co-edited with Elsie Dunnan the book Dance Structures, Perspectives on the Analysis of Human Movement. She was also a guest editor of the Yearbook for Traditional Music in volume 33, 2001. And as a dance scholar and specialist in the Music and Dance of Oceania, Adrienne contributed with many, many insights, especially on the relationship between dance, music, and the visual arts and their place in society. I must say that as a professor myself, I have assigned many of her articles and book chapters to my students, some interested in dance, some interested in music, some interested in both. But there are many, many lessons to be learned through her writings. And of course, Adrienne served the ICTM in the highest capacities. I started with her participation as a scholar and so forth, but she was also elected as a member of the executive board from 1999 to 2001, and as vice president from 2001 to 2005, and as the first woman president from 2005 to 2013. I'm honored to have been her colleague on the board for a number of years, where I witnessed her vision, wisdom, and mediating skills. I'm also honored to be her successor as president of the ICTM. She has taught me many, many lessons in her quiet and subtle way. In recognition of her seminal contribution, the board of the ICTM proudly awarded Dr. Adrian Kepler an honorary membership in 2015. In the name of the ICTM, thank you, Adrian, for all what you have done, which has helped the Council meet many challenges and carry out its mission as a diverse and inclusive international organization dedicated to the study, documentation, safeguarding, and sustainability of music, dance, and related performing arts. And I'm really hoping that all of you present here will support the inclusion of dance in the future name of the ICTM, which is something I've been fighting for.
Yes.
And that will come up in our next General Assembly. So again, thank you, Adrian, for giving us all such a wonderful example and for the wonderful service that you have rendered the ICTM. You have made all the difference. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Salwa. I'm hugging you. And I just want to remind you when I first met you, which was in Muscat, Oman.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
1985.
85?
85, yes.
Right, yes. It was amazing. And we were at this meeting in Muscat, and why I was invited, I never did figure out. But but it was the most amazing place, and I didn't know hardly anyone. And I got to know you at that time, and I have cherished all my interaction with you ever since.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much, Adrian. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Salwa, for your great words. And Brian, I think now we will move on to a general overview of the book itself, right?
Today. So just a little bit about the book. I'm also going to do a share screen with you all. And here you can see the table of contents. So I like to say, just for me, that Adrian has been a mentor, a colleague, and a friend. And it's been just a really great pleasure to work on this project for you, Adrian. As a student at University of Hawaii, I got to know Adrian first through her bibliography, through her works, and gradually through conferences. Adrian, you were someone that I read about early on, read your work, and gradually got to know you through conferences. And I feel very fortunate to have gotten to know you over the years. I just want to mention one happy memory, Adrian, which for me was fairly recently at the last FestPAC, the Festival of Pacific Arts on Guam. Adrian, you and Mary Jo had a car, but you didn't have a driver, and I didn't have a car, and so a very happy group emerged of me acting as chauffeur, but also getting to get around Guam a bit easier. And I really enjoyed just spending some of that FestPAC with you and Mary Jo.
Thank you. That was great.
We're looking forward to the next FestPAC. Ideas of this book came up as early as 2016, really, but really got started at the ICTM conference in Limerick with conversations between Kendra and myself. And there we clandestinely talked to potential authors such as Dawn, Rick, Jane, Anise, and others, and eventually approached Bergen as publisher. Adrian has worked in so many areas of scholarship in dance, ethnochoreology, ethnomusicology, anthropology, Pacific history, art history, and of course, specialized work in Tonga and Hawaii. And we wanted to have a spread of authors covering at least some of these areas. We also wanted to focus in on dance. I got the table of contents here. You can look through it to see some of the chapters that we have. So this book is quite global in its reach, and we're very proud and happy with that. We have authors and topics coming from the US, from New Zealand and Micronesia, from Austria, from Malaysia, from Guam, for the Solomon Islands, from Papua New Guinea, from Canada and Hawaii, from Norway, Tahiti and Hawaii, and Greece, and Australia, Croatia, and of course Tonga in the book's forward. So it really is a global publication reflecting Adrian's scholarship and work over so many areas. We're really happy with that international reach of the book. We'd also like to be sure to thank a number of people for supporting this book, in particular ICTM. This book went through the Publications Committee of ICTM, and my thanks to the council. The editors at Bergen for helping us along through the publication process, and I think producing a really beautiful book. We had a number of support along the way. Barbara Smith assisted us with the project and allowing more photographs in the book, and also with this launch. I'm forgetting some, but Kendra can assist me. We want to thank everyone for joining in on this project. I think at this stage, I'll turn it over to Kendra.
Yes, I do not have much to add. Maybe those two people who helped with the copy editing and assembling of the book, which are Jessica Marinaccio and Kurt Schatz, who both are here, I think. So thanks to those two people who helped with the task of editing the whole book.
Yes, to mention one aspect of the book, and we're coming to authors shortly, but we do have an interview between Rick and Adrian in the book, which Rick can talk to, which I think was a very special edition. We'll come to this, but we do have Adrian's voice in the book, which was done clandestinely a few years ago. And then second, that Jess's contribution was to compile a bibliography of Adrian's work. So Adrian's voice comes in this book through the bibliography, which, if I'm correct, there were 316 publications there. And it really is that really tremendous contribution to scholarship, Adrian, that we found just absolutely incredible. So we're also very pleased to have a mostly complete bibliography of your many, many contributions. I say mostly because with any kind of publication, Adrian, it's very hard to stop, because I know you've produced already many things just last year I've seen come out from you. So you're still going, but this tracks your work up until the end of 2019. So it's really an incredible contribution to scholarship through so many fields.
Thank you.
And at this stage, I think we'd like to turn to some of our authors who want to say a few words to Adrian about the project, or just hello. I wonder if a good place to start maybe is with a video that we have, Eric, and that is from Anis. And Kendra, would you like to introduce Anis or say any few words about him?
Anis Mohamed Noor is a long also friend and colleague from Malaysia, who can't be here because Ramadan has started and it's very early in the morning where he is. So he sent this film, and also in trying to schedule a time of day where everyone can be up and awake is impossible if you work globally. So yes, Anis is also a long-term member of the study group on ethnochoreology and was influenced a lot by Adrian, as we know. So we will just listen to his greeting now. Eric, if you could start the film.
Aloha and greetings from Kuala Lumpur. I wish to congratulate Kendra Treputad and Brian Dietrich for their meticulous endeavor to edit this wonderful volume on Perspectives in Motion. I feel greatly flattered and honored that my contributing chapter is now published in this wonderful book in honor of Adrian Kapler's contribution to the fields of ethnochoreology, ethnomusicology, and cultural anthropology. Indeed, there is no better way to register my profound respect to Adrian Kapler, who has mentored me since the days I was in University of Hawaii 1980 as a graduate student, throughout my career as a scholar and academic in ethnochoreology and ethnomusicology. Mahalo nui lua, Adrian, for the great inspirations.
Thank you, Anis. If you ever see this, it's great. It was, always great to meet Anis first at the University of Hawaii when he was a student. and then so many times in Malaysia and other parts of the world. So thank you for bringing Anis in.
Thank you, Anis. We have another video, and this is from Professor Jane Mulan, Professor of Ethnomusicology at the University of Hawaii. I believe Jane is also with us live, but she also sent a video greeting, which we could play now, Eric.
Hi, Adrian. I had really wanted to write you a limerick, but then I realized there's no way I could even come close to your description of Barbara as the girl from Pomona who wore a kimono. So what do I have to offer on this day of honoring, this day of celebration? I think my comments will make a bit more sense once you read my chapter. But Adrian, what I have is this flower, this Tiare Tahiti, the most important flower in French Polynesia.
And it smells good.
It's a symbol of a woman, of creation, of everything that she can be. It's a flower that's esteemed for its natural beauty, its simple elegance, and its noa noa that enlivens our senses, our memories, our imaginations. And so I offer it to you, Adrian, with thanks. Thanks for being the model of a female scholar in the Pacific. Thanks for all the beauty that you have shared with us over the years, the elegance of your many, many words, and the noa noa that you've given us to enliven our imaginations of what we can do. I guess I could also say thanks for some good laughs at festivals and other meetings over the years, but most of all, Adrian, thanks for always being an inspiration. Maururu e maururu roa.
Thank you, Jane. I can smell that flower way over here. It's wafting nicely to me. Thank you, Jane.
Forgive the video message, but my neighbor's gardeners usually come at this time and I didn't dare risk the leaf blowers in the background. Love you.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you very much, Jane. At this point, we're going to improvise a little bit in terms of book authors who want to also say something live. And I wonder if Kendra can assist me. Maybe we can each take turns, but I wondered if Judy Van Zyl is here with us now. Judy Van Zyl, of course, collaborated with Adrian on many projects over the years and is an author in our book. Judy, are you here with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I think I'd like to tell a very short story, if I may, that tells a little bit about Adrian and also some of my involvement with her in the book. And I first want to start by thanking Brian and Kendra for inviting me to participate in the book. It was quite a surprise. I have a long-standing relationship with Adrian in many different contexts, and I thought I really want to do this, but I was a little bit baffled in trying to figure out what I could contribute to the volume that might be meaningful in some kind of way. And as I thought about it, I was reminded of a project that I participated in. And Adrian probably seems to know about it. Many years ago, when I was quite young and very new as a professor and very early in my career, Adrian approached me and asked if I would provide some lava notation scores for her Hula Pahu project. I was flattered, I was shocked, I was intimidated. I had no idea what to do. Hawaiian dance of any sort was not something I had studied, and that was a little panicking. Working with Adrian, who was quite high on the ladder as far as I was concerned, and I was quite low on the ladder in my career and certainly was not known at all. But Adrian did a bit of arm twisting, and she said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll work together on it and it will be quite easy. We'll only notate some lower body movement motifs." And as most people might know, there aren't that many of them in hula, and they're relatively simple to notate, although we encountered a lot of interesting things along the way. So I finally succumbed and said, okay, I'll do it. In the end, she continued to do a bit of arm twisting and cajoling, and in her own inimitable way. By the time we finished the project, I had notated 37 lower body movement motifs and 16 complete hulas, which was quite an undertaking. It was an incredible project and I learned a great deal from it. And so when Kendra and Brian asked if I would contribute something, I thought, well, I'll do something that's really quite unlike anything that I've ever done before. And that is to think back to that project and to do a kind of autoethnography, if you will, about my role in the project and what it meant to work with Adrian and how we work together. So the chapter, which you can read, deals with the whole idea of collaborative research, because I started thinking about it in many ways related to those kinds of issues. But the project has taken on incredible meaning to me since then, because of two things. One that happened right after the project and one that happened quite recently, and they interconnect, I think. Many of you may or may not know that Pat Bacon passed away about 3 weeks ago. And I notated a number of Pat's hulas in the book. And some of the discussions that have come up at the Oceania gathering recently related to what happens when we lose some of the masters and the knowledge bearers and tradition bearers. And while there are many things that could be discussed about notation and what it can and cannot do and all of that kind of thing, as well as what it means to provide a notation score when the people whose dances I'm notating can't read what I've produced, which is different from writing a verbal description that they can then read. So the passing of Pat has made me think a lot about whether or not those scores might have some value now that she is no longer with us. And that was actually sort of reinforced a little bit, and I'm not sure if I ever told this piece to Adrian, but fairly soon after the book came out in print many years ago, I was sitting in my office one day and received a telephone call from a young woman who introduced herself as a hula student. And she wanted to know where she could learn lava notation so she could read the scores and learn and understand more about the dances that they recorded. So in putting these two pieces together, I really hope that the contribution can be of significance in the future, and also want to thank Adrian very much for intimidating me into working on the project and learning so much, not only about hula, but from her and her own working methods. So thank you very much, Adrian, for the opportunity.
And I'm giving you a hug, Judy. It was amazing because I wanted to have notation scores in the Hula Pahu book in order to record exactly the precise movement of three different schools of Hula Pahu. And I knew I couldn't do it myself because lava notation is not simple. It's not simple to read and it's not simple to write, but it's easier to read than to write. And so, although I can do some, I learned a bit of lava notation from Carongo, your predecessor, and learned how difficult it was to write it, and especially the very tiny movements. And any of you who know lava notation or who know hula or who know Tongan dance, for example, but the movements in Hawaiian dance, they do fingers, they do wrists, they do elbows, they do arms, they do all of these different movements in addition to the lower body movement motifs, which are not that difficult. It's this part that's difficult. And so actually, Judy, being, as we call her, the queen of notation, anyway, Judy can do all of these tiny, tiny things. And even though a lot of Hawaiians can't read it, and some Hawaiians can, but anybody can learn how to read it if they really want to. And if they want to take the very detailed differences, say, between the three schools, you'll see that there are differences. And Pat Bacon, who just passed away, and the other two main people, Kauizura Meister, knowing his mother, and the third group, they're not represented here today, but they are similar, but they're not the same. And so what we did was notate the differences between, especially one dance, Kaulilua. And Judy learned the differences. I knew the differences in my body, but I didn't know how to do the differences writing them down. Judy, you helped me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judy. Wonderful to see you here. I think next we're asked if Don Niles is with us. I was just looking through the list and I thought I saw Don. Don Niles, of course, currently is Vice President for the International Council for Traditional Music, and Don is joining us from Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, and particularly congratulations to you, Adrian. We've missed you at the World Conference in Bangkok, so it's really wonderful to have this opportunity to see you now, and particularly to celebrate your magnificent accomplishment. There's not much more I can add myself, because other people have talked about the great influence your writings, your research, your personality has had on them over the years. And this is something I wanted to very much portray in my contribution to your book as well. I hope I did a little bit of that, but I've also known you off and on for many, many years. I think first meeting perhaps in Honolulu before the IFMC meeting took place there. But I want to thank you so much for working with you for many years, later getting to know you from a very, very different angle in being with you on the executive board of ICTM. And this has been a wonderful learning, pleasurable experience throughout it all. It's fantastic to see you now. And I very much look forward to the next time that we can be together and share many things at that time. So again, congratulations, Adrian. Very, very warm greetings from Papua New Guinea and all very best wishes to you.
Thank you, Don. I'm giving you a hug. Right.
Likewise.
It's been lovely knowing you all of these years, and also, of course, seeing you in Papua New Guinea, which was great as well. Right. Thank you, Don.
Thank you so much, Don. And now we're switching back to the dance side of things. And if Irene Ludzaki is here, I think I saw her earlier. So Irene, would you like to share some words?
Rena.
Irene, where are you?
Rena.
Do you have your mute? Are you muted?
Just checking if we can see her.
She told in the beginning that she will be here for a while. Maybe she had to leave.
Maybe she had to leave. Okay, yes, I don't see her among the participants now.
I think she might have just come in right now, but maybe we can go to someone else and come back
Yes.
to Irene. And I wonder if we could ask if Kati Sego is here with us still. Wanted to say hello.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Hello, Kati.
Hi, Kati.
I didn't know that I was going to be asked to speak. At any rate, I'm not a dance scholar, as you know, so I feel like a little bit like I'm crashing the party. But you know, if you do research on Hawaiian music, you can't help but face the dance, and if you face the dance, you must encounter the important work of Adrian. And in so many ways, Adrian's work has influenced mine, and I'm so grateful for it. Now that I'm speaking, there is something that I really do want to say, and that is, the most important thing about the work that we do are the relationships that we have with practitioners. Of course, we have no work without them, but more importantly, they share their arts and their hearts with us. And so I'm so deeply moved today by the presence of Kumu Zudermeister. And I congratulate Adrienne on her bringing the artistry of so many dancers and chanters and poets into our lives. So thank you so much, Adrienne.
And I'm giving you a hug too. You're among a number of ethnomusicologists who have finally paid attention and looked at, using the visual, that looking at dance, I like to say, that music is a visual art. And there has now been a number of them who have actually paid attention. And thank you, Kate, for doing it as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kati. And Brian just said we found Irene among the participants. So
yes, I am here.
Yes, great. So if you want to share some words, please.
Yeah, excuse me, I had a problem with my computer and probably will stop again, but anyhow, thank you very much, Adrienne, for everything you gave to me. I came to Belfast in '83. I was one of the 3 students you had there. And really, you were my inspiration to start and to continue up to now to teach anthropology and to introduce anthropology in Greece. But I would like to remember a short incident. When I finished my MA dissertation in 1984, it was Christmas time, and suddenly 2 days before Christmas, the telephone rang, 4 o'clock in the morning. And on the other side was Adrienne from Caledonia. And she said to me, Rena, I will come to Greece tomorrow. I said, what? Oh, yes, because it was a cancellation in a trip somewhere, but going to Oman, I have to stop in Greece to see you. So we spent a lovely Christmas holiday in '84, '85. Thank you very much for everything, Adrienne.
Thank you, Reina. Reina was one of my star students she was my star student in Belfast. And for those of you who don't know, I actually taught at Belfast with John Blacking and others. And I didn't teach there all the time, but I came a couple of years for a number of weeks. And we taught dance section of the anthropology course. And Reina was there sitting dutifully taking notes and paying attention. And then we became very good friends. And I do remember calling you, but I didn't realize it was 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, yes. Now it's 12 o'clock in the evening in Greece.
All right.
You must remember. But so, Salva reminds me that you came in Greece and then you went to Oman.
I think so, right.
Yeah.
Right. And I had to stop. I had to do something I had to go somewhere. And I thought, oh, I could just stop in Greece.
Yes.
Sure, why not? Hello, I'm coming tomorrow. Thank you, Raina.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Irene. And we're all looking forward to the time where we can greet each other in person again. I wonder if we could see if Ogia Cruz Banks is here with us, wants to say anything. Ogia wrote a really wonderful chapter on performance out of Guam. Ogia's work is focusing on Pacific, Māori, and West African dance. I don't know if Ogia is free to say hello.
I am. Can you hear me?
Half a day. Yeah.
Half a day, kia ora, naka, talofa. So nice to be here with all of you. I'm calling in from Turtle Island, Ohio on Shawnee territory. As I was saying on another panel yesterday, I so miss the Pacific and the energy of warmth and community. And so this is such a wonderful gathering to be a part of. I am really touched by the heartfelt gratitude and appreciation that is flowing in the direction of Dr. Adrienne Kepler. I am also still in awe whenever I look at the table of contents in the book. I just feel like, wow, what a phenomenal collection of research. And it truly is an honor to be a part of it. So I thank you, Brian and Kendra, for galvanizing the work. I want to just say that I'm so grateful to you, Adrienne, for the deep study of music and dance that you have done, and the way in which you have challenged and inspired me to see my own ancestral culture in Guahan in deeper ways. As a dance ethnographer, I have leaned on your work, and I so appreciate the love and the thick description that you have written about in terms of dance and music. I think the first time that I met you, Adrienne, was actually at a joint dance studies ethnomusicology conference in Philadelphia, believe it or not, in 2010. And I had just relocated to Aotearoa, New Zealand. So it was an honor to meet you then, and then I got to see you at FestPac in Guam in 2016. And when I left Aotearoa to move here to Ohio, I gifted my daughter and I a what I call a Pacific pilgrimage. So we traveled to Vanuatu, we traveled to Fiji, and we also traveled to Tonga. And as I was looking at the Tongan Trench, some of the deepest waters of the world, I thought of you. So congratulations to you, Dr. Kepler.
And thank you. I don't think I gave you a hug then, but I'm giving you one now. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you so much, Ojea. And it's nice to see you for the first time. So far, we just exchanged emails. So it's really a pleasure to see you in person. We would like to continue with the authors, and maybe you have realized we're now switching back and forth between Oceania Studies and dance. So now we would like to invite Elsie, if you would be willing and ready to share some words with us. And I have seen you among the participants, so
Yeah.
maybe?
Yes.
Yes, I hear you.
All right, I just unmuted myself. Thank you. Adrienne, this is such a pleasure. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We hear you, yes.
And thank you to Kendra and Brian for supporting me and encouraging me. When the invitation came through to write something, I said, oh, Boże moi, how can I do this now? I'm in the midst of something. And it was Kendra who said, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm mounting a museum exhibit. And this was in 2018. It was a 50-year project. And she says, well, why don't you write about that? But then, Adrian, I thought ahead. Actually, I thought backward. In 1968 was the first time that we had our first meeting. It was at the Ethnomusicology Conference that was sponsored at UCLA in 1968. Do you remember this? It was a year after your dissertation, and you made a presentation in a session, dance session, structural dance session on Tonga and linguistics. And I was also part of this session after coming back from several months in Yugoslavia at that time. And this was a session that was chaired by Juana Laban, and participating was Carl Waltz and Mary True Jones. And I remember your presentation very well because it was about Tonga, from Tonga, an island in the Pacific that I had absolutely no knowledge of. And you were presenting something about linguistic structural analysis. So this was all very new to me at that time and very memorable. We've had many interchanges since then. 20 years later, actually, both of us became very much more involved with the ethnochoreology group, study group, and working together, co-editing a project somehow across the seas with all of its challenges. And remembering something else that was very important to this particular article that I wrote. At the end of the 2000 Symposium on ethnochoreology on the island of Korčula, you said to me at the end that you were going to Zagreb in Croatia, further interior of Croatia. And you were going to the museum, the ethnographic museum. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And you said that you were going to be checking on some artifacts from Tonga and Oceania that happened to be at the museum. You had a much larger project. This was only part of it in looking at artifacts in various museums around the world. That was very meaningful to me, that you were going to see something in Zagreb. And it was then later in 2002 at a conference, which was in Szeged, and you talked about the aesthetics, and you showed a photograph of a bark cloth from Tonga that was very much part of the dance context. And it was a bark cloth that was so large that it took at least 10 people to carry. Well, it turns out that in this Zagreb Ethnographic Museum that I went to and actually had a museum exhibit that I was working on, there were these Tongan bark cloths, one which was hanging on the wall, and another one that was rolled up. It was so large that they couldn't even show it, but it was one of these large bark cloths in Tonga. So this is the connection now that I have with my presentation or my article that has to do with the tangible items that are part of an intangible event. But it has to do with the Tonga 50 years later from my first exposure to you and Tonga and bark cloths from 1968 to 2018. Thank you, Adrian, for your special, very special work and connecting with my own life in a very different way.
Thank you so much, Elsie. I'm giving you a hug. And if you look behind me, you will see one of those large pieces of Tongan bark cloth, which is quite a small piece, actually. It covers my wall, but it's like 1/20th of the whole piece. And so these are huge pieces of cloth, but they do add tremendously to the presentation of a dance performance. And the dance performance is going on, but then these are the huge ones are carried by maybe 100 people. And they're brought in, and they are a performance in themselves. And so this now, I mean, it really is a connection between Tonga and bark cloth and dance and music. So thank you, Elsie. It's so nice to see you.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you, Elsie, for your contribution to the book project. We've got a few more authors to mention, but before we move on, I need to mention, because I haven't earlier, that we do have a toast coming up to Adrian. So this is a problem for you to have a glass ready to go in the next few minutes, because that toast is coming up. But we'll give you a few minutes to prepare that. I should mention two other authors who are not able to join us today. One is Irene Carongo Handleby. I don't believe Irene's able to come in. She presented at the study group a few days ago. Irene is a Solomon Island scholar based here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And she has done a chapter on Solomon's Islands music, dance, and art forms. And Irene also sends her hello to Adrian. And the second one is Kirsty Gillespie. Kirsty Gillespie is based in Australia, and I don't believe she was able to come in. Both have family obligations, but Kirsty also sends her hello and greetings to you, Adrian. And Kirsty did a really wonderful chapter on repatriation in Australia. So we thank both of those authors. And I think I'll turn it back over to Kendra, and we have, I think, at least one more author to highlight.
Yes, thanks, Brian. Last but certainly not least, on the list of authors that I was just cross-checking with the book, which I have here, is Egil Baka. Would you like to speak a bit?
Yes, that is nice. I'm very happy to be here. It's a long time since last we saw each other, Adrian. And since everybody's telling about the first time, I was very starstruck when I saw you presenting at the ICTM World Conference in Edinburgh in 1969. You were a big star there, I remember, and I didn't hardly speak any English, so I didn't, I think, approach you. But then later on, we have been discussing and working together a lot, and I've been very interested in your approaches to the emikinetic and the linguistic way, linguistic analysis of movement. Although we have been doing very different things, and that's of course what makes an interesting discussion, which we have had for so many times. I hope for the next discussion very soon, and congratulations.
Thank you, Egil. Yes, it's so nice to see you. But I'm just thinking back to the Edinburgh meeting. I couldn't have been a star. That was my first meeting. That was
You were with Ricardo.
it was such an interesting meeting because there were no papers on dance that I recall, at least, and I gave this paper on dance, and people had all sorts of names for me, like Miss Jumpologist and various other things, because they weren't used to having somebody talk about dance at the IFMC. And so it was really, at least not dance outside of European folk dance. They talked about that, but nothing outside of that. And so it was a very strange meeting to me. But I did meet so many wonderful people, including you. I remember you.
Okay, really?
Right. Thank you. Nice to see you, Eagle.
Nice to see you.
Thank you very much, Igo. Another person to mention is Jess Marinaccio, and as I mentioned previously, she compiled the bibliography of Adrian's works at the end of the book. Jess was here very briefly, but she's not here now. She posted a chat message saying she had to leave. Jess was coming to us from Tuvalu, where she works with the Tuvalu government. And again, her contribution was this really wonderful bibliography of Adrian's somewhat, I think roughly around 316 publications, quite amazing. And the other part of the book that is unique and we're going to spotlight here now is the interview. And I'd like to call on Rick Tremelios. Rick is Professor Emeritus at the University of Hawaii, a longtime friend of Adrian. And for this contribution, Rick did an interview with Adrian a number of years ago, which was by clandestine means. Of course, the entire book was kept secret, and this was published in the book. So we thought it really important to have Adrian's voice in the book. And thanks so much, Rick, for doing that. And I'll turn it over to you now. Thank you, Rick.
You're muted.
We can't hear you.
Hi, Adrian and all.
Hi, Rick.
I think for many of us, the great attraction for ethnomusicology and dance ethnology is doing field work. We spend a lot of time socializing with other people, and we find out about their lives, including their aspirations and accomplishments and their secrets. If we are really lucky, we do this in a setting of much food and drink. Therefore, my assignment for the book was to interview Adrian. I wager my task was the most enjoyable among all my fellow authors, and probably the most dangerous. It was enjoyable because it was doing field work with a longtime friend. This year is the 60th year of our friendship with food and drink, including a superior Pinot Grigio and Tango Cafe's renowned strawberry mango crumble. And no analysis was needed. It was dangerous because I lied to Adrian, explaining that I was interviewing a number of old timers about the importance of our study group in their lives, and that I was doing her first, but was going on to Barbara Smith and Stephen Wilde. In our ensuing meetings and conversations, she would ask how the interviews with Barbara and Stephen were going. I would invoke the principle of mental reservation, thanks to my Jesuit education at the Ateneo de Manila, and compound the lie. It was a lie I had to keep for 3 years, and I have seen firsthand what happens to people who cross Adrian. Anyway, Adrian, it has been a joy and an honor to bring your mana'o to print in this festschrift. It reflects in your own voice your awesome achievements as a scholar, being the bridge between anthropology and ethnomusicology or ethnochoreology, having the trust and aloha of such notables as Mary Kawena Pukui of Hawaii and Queen Salote of Tonga, and providing leadership and inspiration, especially for ICTM. It also shows your irreverent, kolohe, fun-loving side that I and others like Noe, Ko'opena, Mary Jo, and Barbara have been privy to over these many years. It is a wonderful interview. So Adrian, I hope you forgive the lie. Now comes the toast. So everyone, please first unmute yourselves and turn on your video. Get ready, you guys.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Now, use your own personal kaineme to raise your glass to place I and hold. So Eric and his crew can get screenshots of the entire group. At the end of my toast, at the end of my toast, there will be a call response. So be prepared. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Adrian Lois Kepner, old friend Edorian, it is my privilege to offer this toast to honor you for all your contributions to the study and particularly for establishing that performance and especially dance. It is as a critical domain of scholarly study and necessary for a full understanding of the cultural heritage of any society. We, your electronically assembled friends from the Pacific, Asia, Europe, and the Americas, celebrate the launch of Perspectives in Motion, and we salute you. Okay, group, 3 times. Hip, hip, hooray!
Hooray!
Hooray! Hip, hip,
Hooray!
hooray!
Hooray!
Congratulations, Adrian.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Adrian. Thank you. I see someone from Germany. Hi, Andrea. Right. Hello.
Hi, Adrian. Here's
Hi.
Marian.
And hi, Marian. So we have the German Carter coming in here. That's Rick has his German friends. I have my German friends too.
Drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning in Hawaii, right? Or 11 o'clock in the morning in Hawaii. So
Right. But there, it must be 11 o'clock at night in Germany, is it?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Good. Well, that's a good time to have a glass of wine. Thank you for joining in, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm not quite at a loss for words as I was when I first got the book. It was just totally amazing to me when I saw this book, and I thought, oh dear, oh dear.
Adrian, I'll come in here to say thank you, and thank you to Rick for the wonderful toast and everyone. We'll ask you to remute yourselves because we have more to go in the program.
Oh, okay.
And after this, we can ask for a response from Adrian. We also have a flyer for our book. If anyone would like to purchase the book at a significant discount, Kendra is now placing that flyer in the chat box, which is quite nice of Bergen to offer this. Thank you, Bergen. We'd like to move on. We will go a little bit over on our time. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. So in that flyer, you will find a code which you enter while you are checking out if you order the book online directly with Berghahn, and it's a 50% discount. And it is both valid for the hardcover and the digital version. So it is quite a good bargain. So just make sure you download it now, because when this session is over, it's gone. But also you can, of course, contact either Brian or me, and we can send you the flyer if you don't manage to download it now. I think it is valid through end of May. So make sure if you want to get a book, or if you want your library to get a book, then make sure to give them maybe this flyer. Sorry, thanks.
Thank you, Kendra.
Thank
so
you.
we have introduced some very special guests for this part of the program that we've been saving up for, both coming to us by video and live. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Pese and Mary Lynn Fonoa, who will be joining us from Tonga, and will be introducing the next part of the program. Mary, are you with us?
I'm here. Adrian, I'll give you a big hug now because our internet is unstable.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Pessy. Pessy, you're in the background.
And Glennie,
right.
And all the girls, they're all here. Yes.
Oh,
so,
wow. Oh, thank you for
everyone. Yes.
Great.
And then, yeah.
Oh, Fatu.
Yes. So in our segment from Tonga today, we have a very special video message followed by an extraordinary laka laka. It's extraordinary because you know laka laka are performed to celebrate great events and great leaders. And today, the laka laka is performed in honor of our dear friend, Tonga's dear friend, Adrian L. Kepler. The laka laka, as Kepler has so wonderfully described, is a major art form of Tonga, consisting of poetry that is sung and accompanied by dance. I'm sure many of you are aware that the importance and uniqueness of this performing art was recognized by UNESCO in 2003, when the laka laka was declared a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. Today, we present a joyful laka laka called Ta'anga Mā Kanokopolu, performed by the students of the Government Primary School Kanokopolu from Hehifo, the Western District of Tongatapu, led by Kotoni Siali and Bilisoni Kai Valata in the presence of the Queen. This is Hehifo's day of cheering, day of applauding. But first, I have the greatest pleasure to introduce a very special video message for Adrian from Her Majesty Queen Nanasi Pa'u of Atu.
Hi, Adrian. Your life has been full of passion and love for both the visual arts and dance of Tonga and the Pacific. It has been amazing for me to have accompanied you on some of your journeys of discovery. Your excitement about the history, culture, and arts was captivating and inspiring. You grasped that the three, history, culture, and arts, cannot be separated, for they are one. They are the three sides of the enduring true story. You did not uncover secrets to bury them yet again. You dedicated your life to your scholarship and the sharing of the wonders you had so carefully and masterfully unveiled. Ofatu Nanasi.
And so I'm giving Nanasi a hug here too. How wonderful. Thank you, Nanasi.
Chatoa, Puewa.
Eco
Thank you for that. That was just wonderful. And thank you. I must say, I throw out a thank you to Kotoni, who was absolutely must have been the teacher here. Kotoni and his family, who have supported me in Tonga for a long time. Kotoni was the follower of my first dance teacher, Vaisimam Hopoate. And I must say, it's so wonderful to see that not only is he continuing his teaching of the adults, but also teaching this primary school dance, which is not easy to learn. And as you see, there was one whole set of movements for men, one for women or girls, boys here. And the poetry, of course, the poetry is wonderful. And of course, you now see why I call this as music as a visual art. And many of the movements, again, like in Hawaiian dance, are based on the hands and arms. And just learning how to do that took me months. But it was a wonderful learning experience. And thank you so much, Mary and Pessy, for supporting me all the time. And we all work together on the wonderful book of Koinsalote's songs. And it's such a useful book for so many reasons. And thank you, Mary. Thank you, Pessy. And thank you to Nanasi, the queen, when you see her. Thank you so much.
Hi, Adrian.
Thank you. We want to extend our sincere thanks to Pese and Mary Lynn, and everyone in Tonga for joining us on this project. Mary and I have been having a lot of emails back and forth. Thank you so much, Mary, for assisting in arranging this wonderful video for this event. And I also want to extend our deep appreciation to Her Majesty Queen Nanasi Pa'u for writing the foreword to this book, which she graciously did, and also for preparing that video address. So our deep appreciation for that involvement, and really so wonderful to have this performance, one of Queen Salote's famous compositions, as part of this event. So thank you, Mary, for arranging that.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Adrian. Ofa atu.
Ofa atu. Say ofa atu, Pessy.
We have one more final part of the program, and that's to just ask Adrian if you have any further responses or anything to add. And we'd add with that after the formal part of the program finishes, we can keep Zoom open for a little bit. I've had a few messages from one or two others who wanted to come in. Then anyone else can maybe say hello if they'd wish. But Adrian, as the last part of the program, we'd invite any responses from you.
Well, my response is overwhelmed. I'm totally overwhelmed, both by the book and by all of these performances that were given by Noi, my wonderful Hawaiian friend and teacher, and the people in Tonga where I've been working since the 1960s. Just amazing. And all of you here, it's so great. I just want you to know that my very first dance class was when I was 5 years old. My mother took me to a class which was called Creative Dance for Children. I think she just wanted to get rid of me for an hour a week. And anyway, that was my very first dance class. And then it went on and on and on to ballet and everything else. And then finally, when I came to the University of Hawaii, I found my real niche, which was in Polynesian and Asian dance. Thank you so much, everybody. This was wonderful. And thank you, Rick, for lying to me. Just wait till the next pillow fight.
Thank you, Adrian, and we look forward to when we can see you in person, hopefully soon. Thank you all for joining us on this book launch. It's really wonderful to have all of you here and to gather together, celebrate Adrian's career, and her work, and to share in your voices and comments, and just really wonderful to have you here. So thanks to everyone. This formally closes the book launch. However, as I said, we can kind of open it to anyone else who wants to say hello. I've had one message, and sort of just jumping into that, from Arzu, I believe it is, who wanted to say hello. If Arzu is here.
Oh, yes, please, Arzu.
My dear Adrian, we are here with Hakan, and I couldn't be part of this book because it was so secret. I couldn't be in the book. So what I decided to do, I will prepare another book for you, maybe in Turkish, maybe in English, with my Turkish students, in your honor. And also I wrote you a limerick in Turkish. It's short, so I'm gonna read it, and then I'm gonna translate it. I'm gonna send you the translation. You will understand something. Seni gördüm Napolyon'da. Çok şaşırdım tevazuna. Hem çok ciddi hem çok komik. Ne çok gezdik, ne çok gördük. Dedikodumuz da çok oldu. İyi ki varsın Adrian'cığım. Sisters'ımız çok yaşasın. İyi ki varsın, iyi ki varsın. Biriciksin Adrian'cığım. Bugün hep böyle hatırlan.
Arzu, my dear Arzu, who I've known for 1,000 years, I think, but I think I first met in New York when we went to
Crozet.
Right, that's right. That's what it was. Right.
Met in Napoleon, and we traveled a lot thereafter. You know, until I gave birth, and you know the rest. So, but it's wonderful to thank you so much to organizing this. It was an opportunity to see you all, and inshallah, in a near future, we will be all together in person.
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe in Istanbul.
Let's hope it's soon. Let's hope it's soon. Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arzu. I wonder if we have anyone else who wants to jump in. I'm just looking through the list, or anyone else who didn't get to say something previously. I know we're over time as well, but this is a chance to hear from anyone else who wants to say hello. As
I saw some names that I didn't realize they knew about this. For example, Joy Swallow, where did you come from? Right. She's a friend in Kansas City, and so how she knew this was happening, I don't know. But hi, Joy, and hi, Brian. Anybody else from that group? Right.
Is Joy here and wants to say hello?
I saw a message from her earlier, so right.
Just asking again if anyone else wants to say hello, hasn't had the chance yet. You're on Zoom.
Yes, hi. This is Kristen Ross.
Oh, hi, Kristen Ross.
Hi, Adrian. We just feel so grateful to be part of this. The group was, you get this great energy from this scholarly group that seems so tight and so connected to the field, but also to you. And so it was such an honor to be part of this, the performances and everything. And so we thank you for alerting us to this. We can't wait to see the book. And honestly, all of you in the field know how important Adrian is, but for us as a friend, but also as a scholar, we just value her so much. So thank you to everybody today for the most moving celebration of a life.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you,
It's so wonderful to see you. Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Bazı ilgili mesela ilgili Buckland, Teresa Buckland, Judy, bu ilk üçünü tanıyorum. Ondan sonra evet, ICTM'in dans grubu. Bir de
Would anyone else like to say hello that's here with us now?
I would like to say something.
There you go.
After listening to many senior voices, I think I want to share some recent encounters with Adrian, which is very unique. I couldn't add too much of my experience with her, but I do have a very unique experience when she came to Taiwan in 2012. she was invited by me to participate in a very small conference on intangible cultural heritage. And together we went to watch a performance by the New Zealand-based Samoan contemporary choreographer, Lemmy Pomponis Folio. And then I have to say there are two surprises, very positive one, out from the participants. One was another scholar who was very surprised that we could invite the then chairperson from the ICTM to that very small and intimate conference on intangible cultural heritage and performing arts. And then the second surprise was when the show was finished, and then Adrian went approaching that choreographer, Lemmy, and greeted him with a very common Austronesian expression, which totally surprised the choreographer. So I think also during that show, she had enlightened me with some myths of creation among the Austronesian cultural world, which has been printed on the program book. So then based on her enlightenment, so I wrote several informal articles to introduce and also to bridge that anthropological knowledge to the expression on stage. So I think Adrian has really demonstrated we do and we can use anthropological knowledge to advocate popular and very current cultural expressions in our own time. Adrian, thank you.
Thank you, Chifeng. So nice to see you, and thank you for inviting me to Taiwan that time, which was so great. You know, I've loved every minute of it. And, you know, it's been great seeing you at all the other ethnochoreology meetings too. So let's hope there'll be another one soon, please. Thank you, Chifeng.
We miss you. Yeah.
Yes, hello.
I think that Cynthia want to say something. I just saw Cynthia come up.
No, I'm good. I just joined in.
Sorry, thank you and welcome. We're just doing a last call for anyone else who wants to say hello, any comments, just sort of an open session at this point. Anyone else?
I'd like to say hello, Adrienne. It's Tess here from Brighton. Just to say, I, like many others, owe you so much. Gosh, I remember as a student finding your articles to read and then being able to meet you in, I think it was at the University of Surrey at a conference.
Oh,
and,
yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you were my great hero, and to actually meet you in person was great. And to have your wisdom and I don't know, you just have this ability to cut through things and get to the kernel of things that really matter. And I very much value that and your friendship. And it's such a wonderful project that Kendra and Brian have put together here. And I'm really looking forward to reading the collection myself and looking forward especially to seeing you in person. Many hugs, and thank you for your inspiration.
Yes, I
and for your
remember
wonderful
Surrey.
scholarship.
Right, I remember Surrey. It was such a long time ago.
Yes, early 80s, I think.
I think so. Right,
something
good.
like that.
Nice
All the
to
best.
see you.
Wonderful to see you.
Thank you very much, Tess. And we're just doing another call for anyone else who wants to say hello. Now is your chance. Thank you all for joining us.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. Yes, hi.
Hi,
yeah,
that's Mary Jo.
This is a colleague from Smithsonian, 37 years with Adrienne, and it's been an amazing journey together. And it's exciting to see all of her wonderful friends who she's talked about forever. And now I get to see you all in person. So thank you, Adrian, and congratulations. It's really wonderful.
Thank you, Mary Jo. Thank you. What would I do without you?
And I'm the one who told Joy and Brian and everybody.
Okay, right. Thank you for doing that. That's great.
We're very excited how word has spread for this launch in so many ways. Thank you. And anyone else, we're just about ready to wrap up the book launch, but if anyone else wants to say hello, good to see everyone here. And if not, we can formally close the launch. I want to give a thanks to Kendra for joining me on this project. It's been fabulous working with you, Kendra, through this project. I look forward to our next project. Well done. And a thanks to Adrian for being an inspiration.
Thank you all so much, and also to Eric, who masterminded getting this all together in almost 2 hours. Oh my goodness.
Yes, a last thanks is needed for Eric and East West Center. I happen to know that Eric is multitasking at the moment. He won't be able to likely come in to say hello again, but I do want to give us a special shout out and thanks to Eric, his entire team at East West Center for running this launch for us, and the 3 other days of our symposium. It's been really wonderful and very smooth. Thank you, Eric. Mahalo nui loa. And with that, everyone, and I ask maybe a member of the East West team can be sure to save the chat text, and we can copy that and send it to Adrian, please.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
We'll have some screenshots from that team. And of course, we've recorded this, and we will send you the video, Adrian, and likely post it to our study group's website.
Right, thank you. And Kendra, would you email me the code so I can order some books to give to my friends? And
yes, of course.
And to libraries, right?
And a reminder on that, if you joined us recently, there is a flyer here on the chat with a significant discount for the book. You can also email Kendra and myself to receive a copy of that. I believe it goes through May, but there is a flyer with significant discount on the book. With that, we will say thank you to all. Mahalo nui loa. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Thank you, Adrian. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to everyone. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so
much. Thank you,
everyone.
Good.
Congratulations, Adrian.
Thank you, Eric. There he is. Right. Good.
Take care.
Congratulations and thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.